So for those that may be kind of inquiring about the franchise process, again, this has nothing to do with us specifically, more of a general understanding of how the franchise system works or the process works is typically you might look at a franchise and you would apply. And part of your application is, one portion of it is like your why, like what's your reasoning for wanting to do this? And then the other part, and then like your experience and your past experience. And then the other portion of it's kind of like, is like an initial financial questionnaire, which is helping to identify like where you at financially to be able to start a business. The second step in that process typically like goes to this pre-qualification period of time where you are potentially working with that franchisor's lending partner, and you're going through this kind of pre-qualification process to see if you do qualify for any loan programs available for that that franchise. And then after that, once you're qualified, really the next step is reviewing what they call the franchise disclosure document, the FDD, and that is a document that the franchisor will typically send to you. It's a really long document, and even though it's extremely lengthy, in most cases, there's like certain items of that document that are the more important ones. Typically, this will be kind of like your startup costs, which is going to give you some kind of like some rails, some guide rails for like, okay, what on the low end, what to expect, on the high end, what to expect on this size of adult day center. What are your guide rails there? When it comes to other things like the financials, typically that'll be included. Sometimes it's not. It really depends on the franchisor. And then lastly, it'll have in there just information about maybe multi-tenant versus multi-unit versus a single unit purchase. So if you were to purchase just one, or if you were to purchase like 2 or 3, what does the development schedule look like, and how does that thing work? So the franchise disclosure document is really just to help make you aware at a much deeper level of that particular brand, what they have, where they're at, what kind of expectations to just wrap your head around, because there's just so much going on, right? It's a big investment, and just having an understanding of like what those costs are. And what's nice about that too is a lot of times, people that are starting out on their own, they may not even know what it costs on the low end or the high end, and to be able to like see or have a guide where like, okay, this is what this costs, this is like my marketing budget I should have. This is like what it would cost from month 1 to month to month 6. Like having those expectations of what to plan for is super helpful. Typically, after you sign that you have received the FDD, which is just an acknowledgement, not any sort of formal agreement, that you just signed, just acknowledging that you've received it, then you're pre-qualified, then you'll typically go to what is known as a discovery day. And the discovery day is a day where you will like get to actually spend time at an adult day center and actually get to spend time with the team and kind of get a feel for what it would be like and kind of like what to expect. And then typically you'll have some time like on a tour, and then sometime like a little bit more one-on-one, where different members of the team might come around and kind of provide some education, some information about like the adult day center or that particular franchise company, what they have to offer, kind of open for questions and things like that. And then after the discovery day, really the next step would be like, hey, am I ready? Does this make sense? And if so, that would be the day that the franchise agreement's signed, and then you kind of move on to like actually, moving forward, purchasing the franchise and then going through the onboarding process, which at that point in time becomes like a whirlwind, right? Because it's like, all right, we committed, let's go. And then the franchise company comes in there and they'll do their thing to like, all right, here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3. So like get you to the, that opening day. So that's kind of the franchise process. To just provide some insight on how that works. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to learn how to open your own adult daycare center, go to adcpro.com. If you'd like the latest business tips, click here, and make sure you subscribe to our channel, click here. We'll see you guys next time.